Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to the PG Show, where we talk about all things college football. But today, we're going to talk about some OU football. But before we do that, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. Let me know what you guys are thinking down in the comments below. Who do you guys think has been the biggest success for the resurgence of this Oklahoma defense? Is it Jerry Scmidt? Is it Brent Venables? Is it Todd Bates? I don't know. You guys tell me down in the comments below. Okay, we have to talk about the resurgence of this Oklahoma defense and this Oklahoma team, because we're starting to see something in Norman, Oklahoma that we haven't seen in a long time. And it's an Oklahoma team that can score on offense really quickly, but can also be suffocating on defense. Now, I did pull up some statistics for this. Not only the numbers that we have this year, but 2021 and 2020. Now, I understand 2020 is kind of an anomaly, so we're going to run through that one here in a minute. But here's what I want to talk about. Jerry Scmidt, and I think he has probably been, outside of Venables, the biggest reason to the change that we see on defense. And why? Well, the strength and conditioning. The strength and conditioning got so much better here. As soon as Jerry Scmidt came back, it was instantly noticeable on the field. Instantly. And you have to credit a lot of what this defense is doing to Jerry Scmidt and that strength and conditioning that he's doing. I heard rumors that David Aguabu was running at, I think it was like 260 something as a linebacker, and now they got him down to like 240. I don't even know how the dude was moving at 260 something. But 240 is a much more manageable weight at a linebacker. He's a lot more fast. A lot more fast. He's definitely faster. He's a lot more explosive. And things like that, those little things that sometimes we don't think about are huge to the growth and to the development of this OU defense once again. And I do want to point this out, because I know a lot of people are going to say, okay, well, OU got 40 new people through the transfer portal. Yes, we did get 40 new people through the transfer portal. But I want to give you this. Venables is currently doing better with what Lincoln Riley and Alex Grinch had. And here's what I mean by that. Justin Broyles. Jaden Davis. And many other guys. I'm totally blanking on a lot of them right now. I think when I counted the other day, there were like 12 or 14 returning defensive players on this team. Ethan Downs. There's a bunch of guys like that. And they make an impact. And Brent Venables is showing that he's able to get the same production or more out of these guys. Jalen Redmond, Jordan Kelly. You have Billy Bowman. These are guys that are starring this year that Alex Grinch and Lincoln Riley couldn't get the same production out of. Now, again, a lot of that's probably coming from strength and conditioning, but a lot of it's coming out of Venables' scheme, putting them in the right positions, actually playing them at the positions that they're supposed to be able to play. Because Lincoln had a tendency, and his coaching staff had a tendency to play people at the positions that they weren't necessarily meant to play. And I think that's a testament to what we have. And I kind of think back to, okay, what would OU have been if some of these guys would not have left for the NFL draft and Brent Venables would have had some of those guys like Nick Benito or Perrion Winfrey or Brian Asamoah. I feel like this team would have been pretty good. Now, OU's currently ranked number 36 in total defense at 312 yards per game, number 10 in red zone defense, number 14 in scoring defense at 10 points per game, number 5 in sacks at 13, number 2 in tackles for loss at 32, allowing 118 yards on the rushing and 194 on the passing. Okay, so through 3 games, these numbers are eerily similar to what we've seen the past 3 years. So 2021, Alex Grinch, 319 yards per game, 17 points per game. So we're doing about 7 points better than last year. And I would say you're playing better competition because we didn't play a Western Carolina this year. I would say Kent State or Tulane or Kent State's probably on the same level as Tulane. And then you have Nebraska, right? Same competition. So you're doing better in scoring. Same in sacks, 13 and 13. Pass yards per game. So 236 compared to what we have this year at 118. So you're looking much better in passing game. Last year's rush yards, you had 83. Compared to this year, you have 194 on the, or no, 118 on the rushing. You have 194 in the passing. So last year you were a little bit better, but I believe in that Western Carolina game, you only give up 70 rushing yards. And again, you're playing an you're playing a high school team at that point. So the 2021's kind of hard to measure because you got that FCS team, but we'll just give it to them. So eerily similar. In 2020, I actually broke this out into two separate categories. So they actually allowed 313 yards per game, but that was their first three games against Missouri State, Iowa State, and Kansas State. Now, if you want to take out Missouri State and you want to just add in Texas in those three games, so Texas, Iowa State, Kansas State, 410 yards per game. They were allowing 25 points per game, and they were 25 points per game with Missouri State, 40 points per game if you swapped Missouri State with Texas. So this Oklahoma defense actually improved quite a bit in 2021. Numbers are really similar. But here's what I mean about the resurgence of this Oklahoma defense and why this is so important. What's one thing that when you watch the Oklahoma team that you notice most right now? They're tackling better. Open field tackling. After the catch tackling. They're always there wrapping somebody up. They're not getting huge chunk plays after a catch. And it's not two or three guys touching him before he finally goes down. And I think that's so important. Tackling is the number one most important thing to a defense. If you can tackle well, your defense will at least be manageable. And then you get talent like you have at OU, and then your defense is actually good. Now, again, it's really hard to measure year over year when 2020 was a COVID year, 2021, you played an FCS team. And, this year your competition was obviously a lot better than what you would normally play. But, even though it's eerily similar to 2021, you're seeing something different out of this defense now. You're seeing these guys run through a brick wall. And I want to highlight a couple of those guys. So the first one is Reggie Grimes. Like, my gosh, that man is, he's going to have a great season. I think he's already got, it was like 4 sacks. Reggie Grimes is killer. And he's going to be a guy that I think is going to be a foundation piece for this defensive line in Brent Venables this year. Additionally, you have a guy like Billy Bowman, who the staff last year did not get a lot of production out of Billy Bowman last year. And Billy Bowman this year is playing tremendously well. If we look at it, he's got 14 solo tackles, 24 total tackles. Now, he doesn't have a sack. I don't expect him to. But Billy Bowman, he's probably one of your top 3 best defensive players on this team right now. Additionally, is you have Danny Stutzman, which, we've had him on the podcast. 17 solo tackles, 25 total tackles, 1 sack. This man is a leader on the field. And we saw flashes of this last year, of what he could do before he got hurt. But, man, Danny is, I don't think I expected Danny to look this good this year. I really don't. I don't think I expected it. Then you got David Aguabu. And here's what's so impressive about David Aguabu. He's out there calling the plays for Brent Venables. He's on the field, putting guys in the right position. Guys are coming up to him, asking him where they're supposed to be. David Aguabu is all over the place. He's got his fingerprints everywhere. We talked about Reggie Grimes and his 4 sacks. But Ethan Downs, did you guys see the progress that this kid made during the offseason with Schmidt? He got a lot bigger. And it's shown how much faster he is off the ball this year. He's everywhere. He's always in the backfield. Now, he's only got 2.5 sacks, but I feel like Ethan could probably have about 4 this year. Ethan Downs is going to have an incredible career at Oklahoma. I'm really excited what we're going to get out of him. And again, another guy that is able to help you lead that locker room. And then you've got a bunch of guys that are coming in off the transfer portal, like Trey Morrison. You have Jonah Laululu. You have Shane Witter. You have Jeffrey Johnson, which I'm extremely impressed with Jeffrey Johnson. Up and down the board, you see guys making an impact all around. And this isn't something that we've had in the past where the defense is just, they're making their tackles. They're not missing their assignments. And I think that's the biggest thing. And so this OU defense, I feel like, I know it's only 3 games in, and we're going to see a lot of what they're made of tomorrow against Deuce Vaughn and the Kansas State offense that is heavy on the run. But I really feel like we're seeing something different from the University of Oklahoma in defense that we haven't seen in a long, long time. I'd say we haven't seen this good of a defense probably since, was it 2011? Probably 2011. Because probably 2011, because 2013 is when it really went downhill. So 2012 would have been a pretty average year. I'm not saying that they're going to go win a national championship, but here's the thing. If you can continue to progress on the defensive side of the ball the way they have over the next couple of years, you might have a shot at it. And when you got guys like Todd Bates, Miguel Chavis, Jay Valai, and then, of course, Brent Venables, Ted Roof, out there recruiting, hitting that recruiting trail, they're winners. They're not only winners on the field, they're winners off the field. And they're not looking to just develop guys to go be great NFL players. They're looking to develop these guys as young men. And when you do that, you get the most out of them. And you're seeing it hands-on. You're seeing the effect on the recruiting trail. I expect 5-star defensive lineman David Hicks to commit to Oklahoma next week. Fully expect it. I expect to see Johnny Bowens commit to Oklahoma. I expect to see Tasuli Akana commit to Oklahoma. Next year, T.A. Cunningham, David Stone. I expect to see Todd Bates and Brent Venables go out there and land huge talent at the defensive position, whether that's Peyton Bowen or Ryan Yates. They're going to do it. It's going to happen. And they're turning around this defense. The Oklahoma defense is back. And if you're a Big 12 team and you're watching what Oklahoma is going to be this year, next year in your conference, you have to be a little scared of what you're going to have to go face and the monster that you're going to have to face off the field. Because here's the thing. The OU offense doesn't seem to have lost a beat. But the OU defense has seemed to majorly pick it up. And for any team you face, that has to be scary. Thank you guys for tuning in. Please let me know what you guys think, who you think has had the biggest impact on this Oklahoma defense. Do you think it's Todd Bates? Do you think it's Jerry Scmidt? Do you think it's Brent Venables? Let me know down in the comments below.